Well, I think we all just learned a pretty valuable lesson. Sometimes less is definitely more. We just saw Change My Mind, able to do something that we pretty much all thought was impossible. And you look at the two teams that are about to take the main stage, Method Black and Cloud9, and I think that it's pretty obvious that they are happy that some of the heavy lifting was just done for them. We see Wildcard Gaming, a huge threat inside of this tournament, being sent packing, and now the question is, who is going to make it to the grand finals from these two squads? But I want to talk just a little bit more about Change My Mind. My name is Rich. I'm going to be your host. I'm joined by Zico, Supatiz, and Healing Stat, and I want to go back in a time machine right now. I haven't gotten into this with you yet this season. You played all the way back in, it was 2015, right?
Yep.
In 2015, you played with Flay. And then after that, fantastic year, too. A very
good year.
Very, very good year.
Very close to an even better year.
Right, yeah. Just a couple of things go your way, and all of a sudden it's the best year you can have. But you look at Valet after that, and I feel like he gets in all of these situations where he's a fantastic player, but he almost has a rough year. A lot of rosters that he's on, he can't even fully be used. Even the year that he plays with you, he only plays 3 times, 100% win rate. But then after that, he finds himself in scenarios where, Ratapai doesn't end up multi-classing as much as we think Ratapai is going to multi-class, so Valet doesn't play that much. Then ultimately they get to LAN, and he has to play Rogue. Then he gets to LAN this year. There's only 3 players. I feel like so many times you just can't help but to cheer for him, and then he overperforms.
Yeah, Valet's the nicest guy off camera as well. That's one thing to note about him. He's just so humble, so nice. With all the success he's had, he could be a really unpleasant person, but he's such a nice guy. Last year, Acrolols couldn't come to the spring finals. He ends up playing Rogue and Demon Hunter for his team. This year, Fried Kitty can't make it. He ends up making top 4. I was starting to notice, the spring finals is cursed or something. We had a top 3 performance from Method Black last year with 3 people, Reformed, who were the EU number 4 team, ended up winning last year, and now we go to 2019 spring finals and the same things. It's like a checklist.
We joked about how it can be important as well to have that experience with just your 3 players, because it can help you shape comps that are valuable for the rest of the year and build synergies that are valuable for the rest of the year. But to see it actually happen again is absurd, and also to see how much this is going to impact the matchup that's about to go down on the stage is very important. This changed the entire bracket. You look at Method Black versus Cloud9, they're going to play right now for a spot in the grand final. Whoever wins this gets that road straight to the most important matchup in our tournament. But also now you know that you don't have to play against Wildcard Gaming, a team that's been tough historically. I don't think Cloud9 would want to play against Wildcard Gaming either, Z.
I mean, look at it this way. If Cloud9 loses here and AWC wins against Change My Mind, Cloud9 gets a rematch essentially against a team that they already had a pretty easy time beating earlier yesterday. So definitely Change My Mind is essentially doing everyone a favor here by knocking out one of the top contenders in such a great way. And now we're going to have to look at Cloud9 and Method Black, because obviously they still want to avoid that lower bracket and try to just get as dominant as possible into the final.
I'm very excited with these two teams as well. Oh my goodness. Okay, a perfect 50-50 split in the chat for Cloud9 and Method Black, the top dogs from their region. And to take it a step further, Supatiz, when you look at both of these teams, I think about their this is fantastic.
What?
This is fantastic. You look at Cloud9, this is the composition that has been a lot of fun to watch from them. What is Method Black employing here, Sid?
Well, there's 2 shamans, and I mean, shamans are really good at stopping Chaos Bolts with Grounding Totem and Wind Shear, and Method Black may have gone to the strategic drawing board here to say, what do Destro Warlocks hate? Well, they hate shamans, so let's just bring 2 shamans. What else do they hate? Rogues? Okay, let's just bring 2 shamans and a rogue, because Method Black really didn't seem like they had an answer for the Mage Warlock, and I guess this is what they think is their best shot. If they can win the blind pick with it, that is of utmost importance. We're in the upper bracket between North America, Cloud9, the last North American hope. Method Black, on the other hand, the top point earners from Europe as they go head-to-head.
I actually really like this composition from Method Black. I was concerned they were going to be overconfident in the mirror. I don't think you should lead with it. There were some rumors that perhaps, Raikou was very confident off of yesterday. Maybe he would fancy his chances in the mirror. But first, they're going to go for what they think is their best answer. And of course, knowing the Magelock Druid is coming in, we see big damage over onto Chanimals early. Doesn't overreact, doesn't trade out the Unending Resolve for those Maldics, just using the Spell Reflect, the Ironbark from Cubsy as well. Well matched in this opener, but the double shame is going to be interesting because, of course, yesterday yesterday we only really saw Sea-Doo running the Restoration Shaman, and obviously it didn't work out too well for them. We criticized the Restoration Shaman's lack of healing, but with Swapsy and Waz being more evasive, it might be better.
There's a lot of pressure right now from Cloud9, a bit unexpected. I anticipated that the lockdown would prevent a lot of Cloud9's damage, but Swapsy has been hovering low on health for a significant amount of time, and as Chaz is running that Restoration Shaman, he's exposed to interrupts. Cloud9 have 2 of those, and they're long duration, so it could be deadly if even one is secured onto Chaz. So maybe he's hesitant to heal. We haven't seen him on his Shaman in a long time. That could be another thing as well, because Swapsy is just getting destroyed. I mean, that's a Spirit Link Totem already out of the way. The pressure from Cloud9 is mounting, and now it's coming down to, is there a comp that can beat Cloud9's Mage, Warlock, Druid? Because if this one doesn't, which you would think is the absolute utter counter comp. I mean, what else could make a Warlock's life more of a living nightmare than 2 Shamans in a rogue? Like, I mean, I really can't even think of anything that's more devastating, but they're just shaking it off. It's almost as if it's not even a counter. Look at the pressure.
Yeah, I'm not actually 100% convinced it is a counter. I mean, it's not like it's a matchup that's played very often, so this is kind of like the mad scientist Swapsy probably thinking up, like, how can I annoy Chanimals as much as possible? Chanimals is the playmaker, I'm going to shut him down, but so far, Method Black have been struggling. That said, the advantage of the Restoration Shaman is that their mana management is fantastic. You can see his blue bar, the smaller blue bar below the other blue bar, is still high. He has a lot of that mana resource, meaning that he can heal for a long time, and they're going to have to play for dampening, right? Like, they're not going to kill the Warlock until that Soul Leech healing is reduced by the healing reduction buff later in the game. Swapsy, though, I'm kind of confused as to why he's playing more aggressively right now. I'd love to see him just kind of humping the pillar if that's the goal here. Just hug the pillar the entire game, sit by it, avoid those frost bolts, avoid those chaos bolts, and don't force Chaz to heal and spend that resource.
Well, it's because Cubsy wants to drink, and that's what Swapsy is realizing as he's trying to chase him down and stop it. Mana is the name of the game. If they can't get ahead of it, crowd control secured by Wealthy Man. Wealthy Man is doing so much damage. He knows that Chanimal's being pressured. It's really difficult for Chanimal to get much going, and Wealthy Man has stepped up to the plate, getting crowd control and pressure for the team, despite Chanimal being totally countered by the entire team of Method Black with his elemental rogue Restoration Shaman. And this really pays into the respect that Method Black must have for Chanimal to craft this composition. They say that Chanimal is the best player on the team, and they even think that if Chanimal maybe isn't on the team, that Cloud9 aren't of the same caliber. So crafting this composition to try and lock Chanimal out of the fight is an interesting strategy, but Cloud9 are proving that it's not just Chanimal. Wealthy Man dealing tons of damage here. Could just be a kill if Chaz gets interrupted even once. Healing Tide Totem in reposition is allowing Swapsy time to recover. Mana still even. Cubsy sits down. How much mana will Cubsy get off of this drink? Not too much, but he is ahead, which is surprising.
I think being ahead as the Restoration Druid by such a small margin actually isn't necessarily a good thing for Cloud9, because the Restoration Druid will burn through his mana faster. He needs to get one of those, you know, massive 30 to 100 mana drinks that we see from Resto Druids going, you know, Prowl, maybe Shadow Mend on the other side of the map, get the crowd control from the Mage Lock Druid. And I mean, I think the odds are good that he's going to achieve it against Chanimals and Wealthy Man. Chanimals and Wealthy Man have been commended multiple times on their ability to just control the enemy team, you know, with the polymorphs, with the fears, and they're really making Method Black work for it, as they should be in this matchup. That said, the pressure has started to settle down a little bit. Method Black is stabilizing. Chaz is doing a good job, and they need to keep the pressure on Chanimals now so that Cubsy is forced to heal.
All right, let's see if they can get it done. Cubsy's mana is still ahead, but like you said, not by much. And with the Druid, you want to be basically full mana at this point. First thing, a Shaman. Polymorph secured. Wealthy Man once again MVP here for North America on that Frost Mage. Swapsy is still low on health. Chanimal's trying to close this game out. He is getting denied a bit. Now stunned up by Waz. Polymorphs are over. Chaz has time to recover. Still counterspell available for a Wealthy Man, so we do want to make sure that Chaz is able to avoid that. If he is not, then that could be Swapsy's life. Wealthy Man pausing the fight, trying to buy time for Cubsy to drink, but an Earthbind Totem snipe will deny it. That is the other advantage of bringing 2 Shamans, is you've got a lot of totems that you can throw at Cubsy to keep him in combat. You got a lot of Earth Elementals as well, so this is a smart composition, although surprising from Method Black, but I'm not sure if it's going to work.
Yeah, Method Black are working together as a unit to stop these drinks too. You see Waz pushing up for the distract. If Cubsy re-stealths, then both the Shamans pushing together. Chaz, the healer, currently with the most offensive positioning, because he knows, like, Chaz won't die. They're not not going to kill him in this matchup. They theoretically in dampening they could go for it, but right now they certainly won't. So even he, you know, can push for those earth binds, push those earth grubs if he's running it, and the whole team needs to be on top of this game because that is the win condition here. We see kidney shot onto Chanimals once again. The longer that Cubsy is running away for those, you know, drink attempts, the more that Waz is going to deal damage. I actually kind of like this defensive blind as well onto Wealthy Man. They recognize the win condition is mana, so there's no real point to crowd control Cubsy. They're not going to force his trinket. Chanimals is always going to be fine, so just shut down a bit more damage.
I suppose Method Black are playing for the long haul, the deep dampening kill. Can they make it, though, to that light at the end of the tunnel? Because I would say the pressure has been in favor of Cloud9 throughout. 3 targets softened up here for Cloud9. Who are they going to tee off on? Cubsy's in the corner. Is he going to get sniped on the drink?
Yep.
Waz is able to deny it, but Cubsy's sneaking away. Waz thought he knew where he was, but he's not going to find Cubsy. Cubsy crosses map. Waz now in midfield. What's Cubsy going to do? He's going to start healing. Doesn't have time to drink. He doesn't want to fall behind. Smoke Bomb gets dropped. Cubsy Tranquility heals through Smoke Bomb. Good counter there on Cubsy's part. Swapsy being pressured. Waz being pressured. Weltman doing everything that he can to generate some pressure. Infernals have landed. Chanimal is ready to go as he begins to ramp up for a Chaos Bolt show.
Yeah, this is the big scary time for Method Black. They need to be aggressive in stopping those drinks, but it's so hard during these Infernals. It can be so scary. One Chaos Bolt with Infernals can be 50% of your health instantly. They're shutting down Chanimals. Waz, excellent kidney shot coming in here. They need to get the interrupts. Cubsy moving away constantly from those Shamans, forcing them to cross the map, forcing them to tank damage from this Mage Lock Druid composition. He's going for a drink on the other side of the map right now. Waz pushes in, looks to deny, gets the distract. Good play. Distract does not remove stealth from the Druid, though. He's going for another drink right now in the corner. It doesn't look like they have a stop for it. Chanimals pushing in. He's dropping a little bit low. It's a dangerous game Cloud9 are playing, but they're playing it well.
I mean, it's one that they have to play if they want to take it here in dampening. They need to get Cubsy mana as soon as possible, but Waz overextending to stop the drink costs some cooldowns. Now he's low on health. How is he going to stabilize? Chaz has a lot of work ahead of him. He might just drop a Spirit Link Totem. He repositions on top of the team, pops Ascendance, able to connect a big heal. Now pushing up with the team to stop Cubsy from drinking. There's the Earth Elemental. That will chase Cubsy and punch him, keeping him in combat. If they can chain both Earth Elementals on Cubsy in a row, I almost think it's certain that he will not be able to drink for the rest of the match. And if he can't, then it is going to be dangerous for Cloud9. Winning the blind pick is of the utmost importance, so you get the swing match advantage should this series go to a Game 5. So this match matters even more so than any other map in this best of 5 series. Cloud9, #1 North America. Method Black, #1 Europe, going head-to-head. Game 1 on the Grand Arena. We're getting closer and closer to this game being finalized. Cooldowns forced on both sides, and it's coming down to the wire here as healers are tapped on mana.
Yeah, Cubsy completely out of mana. The win condition from Method Black is looming close here. Chanimals down to 20% health. Lack of cooldowns. Ironbark, the last line of defense. Chaz, meanwhile, still has the Spirit Link Totem. Oh, huge! Aftershock connects onto Chanimals. This guy, he's been a Live Lord this entire tournament, but with Maledicts, with Cubsy with 10% life, it's just a matter of time. The Shamans push in. Swapsy's tasting blood in the water here. The bash coming in from Cubsy. Feared, they're desperately trying to survive, but there's no way Cubsy can drink. He won't be able to heal Chanimal.
He's got nothing. Chanimal's holding out for a miracle. Wealthy Man is that miracle. Can Wealthy Man pull it off while his teammate is cornered against the wall? Cubsy has managed to recover. Waz is now low on health, 2 seconds away from Cloak of Shadows, 1 second away from Cloak of Shadows. Now available, likely having to be traded. Chaz doesn't have Spirit Link Totem. Chanimal has survived. I absolutely can't believe that Chanimal has survived. Cubsy is sitting down for a drink at 28% dampening. If he comes off the back of this with full mana, Method Black don't have anything.
North Americans in the chat, this is your team. The last bastion of hope for North America. Cloud9 have a full mana bar. Excellent play coming in from Chanimals. Cubsy, Wealthy Man with the slows. Now Waz is the first under pressure. This is the Infernal stun, Sid.
The Infernals have landed. Chanimal has done it. He's survived. Cubsy has mana, but still dampening in the game. Maybe not enough. It's looking good, Chaz. What are you going to do? Suddenly you're having nothing. Waz is at 10%. There's the counterspell. Wealthy Man's the miracle. Waz holds on, but Cubsy is killing him in cat form through the Cloak of Shadows. Waz barely survives that attack. Now Method Black, they're pinned, they're cornered, and they're cowering because their counter pick might not work.
Cloud9 will turn your world upside down from the absolute despair, defeat looming in their face, a black hole sucking them in. They somehow, some way, with Wealthy Man slows and Cubsy's drink have managed to survive it. Still, 35% healing reduction, a Rogan and Elemental is a threat you must respect. Chanimals, whilst high on health right now, will be struggling. Cubsy, he knows he has to get the kill for his team. He needs to help out. Chaz so low on mana. Every point of damage at this stage in dampening matters. Wealthy Man pushing in. Chaz trades out Astral Shift, could be a kill target later in the game, but they need to tee off on Waz. The smoke bomb comes in. Maldix connect. Chanimals caught up in the kidney shot. Cubsy comes in, defense with the Iron Bark.
Ooh, Demonic Gateway on the Lightning Lasso. Chanimal escapes to safety. Good positioning. Solid avoidance. Absolutely unbelievable. But once again, it's Wealthy Man that needs to net the kill for his team. Chanimal is under too much pressure. Can Wealthy Man carry this through? Can he finish the game in time? Cloud9 versus Method Black. Round number 1. The Grand Arena. Blind pick. Everything on the line. Defensive blind on Wealthy Man to stall the game. Was trying to stall. Still trying to play for the mana advantage. But Chaz is totally tapped. How much longer can Chaz keep this going? Stun on Chanimal. Was trying to lead forward with the charge. Swapsy Hex Wealthy. Cubsy dispels. Lightning Lasso denied. Now Cloud9 gets some room to breathe, and with that room to breathe, they need to make a push.
I mean, Cubsy had 100% mana. Now he's back down to 20. You can see how important that drink was. They barely survived with an 80% mana resource usage there. They're still looking tough for them. Somehow, Method Black are still high on health. The Cloak of Shadows for Waz is up in 10 seconds. Chaz knows that. He trades out the Spirit Link Totem. They're still looking to stop these drinks. Waz actually has his defensive arsenal almost back as utility. He needs to survive the stun. Full bash from Cubsy. Cloak of Shadows is available should Waz choose to use it. Now he needs to be the one getting offensive onto Chanimal.
Ursul's Vortex on his Shadow Step has to cloak the Chaos Bolt as a result. Beautiful. Chaz is polymorphed. Wealthy Man is carrying. They need one more Chaos Bolt or a Ferocious Bite. Cubsy jumps into the fight, and that's good night. Cloud9 take game 1, and what is the answer to their Mage Warlock Druid?
That's the question that pretty much every single team has been asking, and it's funny because even when you look at Method Black making it to this matchup, it was an important composition for them as well to make it to the game 5 to even get here. So there are a lot of ideas floating around about this composition, but the one thing that isn't an idea, it isn't a theory, it's a fact, Cloud9 is the best team at playing this comp, and it still took some crazy plays to win this. Let's talk about Chan actually moving behind the pillar there and somehow managing to stay alive.
I mean, this part of the game right here, Chanimal is dead. Every Warlock who plays this game is dead here. I mean, he's on 5% HP. He has a Maledict on him. His healer is out of mana. Cubsy dispels him and goes for the drink, and he just prays Chanimal is going to survive somehow, some way. And the big MVP here has got to be Wealthy Man. Wealthy Man is just slowing up every single player on Method Black while Chanimal is moving around that pillar, buying Cubsy time to get the drink. And I mean, even here at 44% dampening, Cubsy has, 5 or so % mana left to work with, and they know we need to close this game now because Cubsy is about to go for the second time here. And they do manage to find the kill eventually, with some nice polymorphs onto Chaz. Cubsy gonna leap in and just try to assist with a little bit of damage. Waz immediate reaction with the evasion, but no Cloak of Shadows, not gonna be able to do it. And up until that point in the game, I really thought, wow, Method Black really has this figured out. Chanimal, 5% or so HP, crazy. Somehow still survives. Like how?
That's exactly what I wanted to touch on, right? You see how low Chan does get Sid? This composition, did we actually see them figure something out? Is this the way to actually play against the MLD?
I mean, it definitely could be, especially on smaller maps where Cubsy most certainly is not going to get away to drink, so I do expect to see the double Shaman Rogue on the small maps, but maybe on the larger maps we see Amir. Maybe that's their best shot on the maps where it is going to be easier for Cubsy to sit down for a drink. Either way, this is just absolutely insane from Cloud9. I think a lot of people were expecting that Europe at least would have an answer for their Mage Warlock Druid, but even Europe is not finding the answers.
There have been a lot of whispers about the MLD. Luckily, we have Aya down on the floor. She can fill us in on anything the players have been saying.
Hey guys, I caught up with Chanimal of Cloud9 before this series, and as you guys were just saying, he didn't think that the other teams had any answer for the Mage Lock Druids, so they were a little bit surprised with their victories yesterday. He also then told me that if they beat Method Black, he thinks they can win this entire thing. So with that first win, let's see if they can keep that momentum going. Thanks guys, back to you.
There is a lot we still do need to talk about. Thank you very much for that. Now, Adrian, what do you think of the composition? I want to start there because I do want to try to figure out what we think Method Black is going to be playing throughout this series.
It's a difficult one because I wasn't sure initially. Like the game at the start looked fantastic for Cloud9, but it looked like Method Black had that one for a really long time, and then Channel was at 5%. It was kind of the worst case scenario. They didn't get the kill, firstly. Obviously, that's not great. But they also let Cubsy drink. They could have easily stopped that drink. He wasn't far away, but I think probably what happens in a LAN environment, like, you have to really keep your eye on that Druid the entire game. They were doing such a fantastic job for a good 8 minutes of that game there, and they were probably just like screaming, catch this guy, catch him, we need to get the kill here, when actually they probably didn't. They probably could have just prioritized still playing to that win condition, stopping Cubsy's drink. There's no reason why he should have got away there. So I think, small map coming in here, Hook Point, they're probably going to lock in the same comp, but on the bigger maps, it's anyone's guess.
Cloud9 really, I mean, inside of games, have they broken a sweat? Yes, there's no question about that. But they haven't even had to use Snuts. Like, Snuts is still, they're on the bench right now. They're in a great spot because we know that even though this is the composition that they want to play, this is their main composition in this tournament, they have other options. They just haven't been forced to use them. They have not really needed to show their hand yet in a big way. If that has to happen in this series, you don't have that much time on Sunday to really figure it out. This is a code that has not been cracked.
Yeah, it's all about Mage Lock Druid. Can you beat Cloud9's Mage Lock Druid? And we've seen, all kinds of strategies being thrown at them. We've seen double melee teams. We've seen, the Moonkin Elemental of different teams. We've seen now the Rogue Elemental, the Windwalker Elemental. So many different compositions have all been thrown at Cloud9 and just deflected. And on a small map like this, we might see the Windwalker Elemental because that did actually take games off of Cloud9, but still, winning the blind pick is so important because let's say Method Black plays Windwalker Alley, they win this game. Well, Cloud9 are just going to go to Asherman's Fall or Tolveron, one of the super large maps, and that's not going to be an option there. If you don't win on Nagrand, which is still, reasonably sized, you are not going to stop no drinks on Tolveron Arena, which is, pretty much twice as big. So we're going to see Method Black go back to their bread and butter here with the DK Restadrid. Now, we know that Method Black has a lot of options here. The Rogue Ellie looked good on Nagrand. It should look even better here. They also have the Windwalker Ellie, which they played in some of their matches, and Wildcard played it and won. But they opt to go for their DK/DH Resto Druid. Now, this is something Cloud9 has just been farming in North America, so I think Cloud9 are happy with this.
I actually want to say strategically, I really like this from Method Black because if I'm in Method Black's shoes, I look at the lower bracket, I see AWC, I see Change My Mind. I see 2 games that I should always win, right? Mm-hmm. So this is the series where they have the disadvantage. They lost Nagrand Arena. If they can kind of make that safe bet that they'll win whoever comes down from lower and get to the grand final, I think this is where, you play all those like tier 1 comps that you've brought to the tournament. You see, hey, are we better at this than the boys? Are we better than this than, Method Orange who have played it into Cloud9? If the answer is yes, great, they win the tournament. If the answer is no, there's a good chance they have a second chance later.
Yeah, you're in a position this far into the tournament where you can see most of the permutations, right? You can just look at the bracket and say, okay, we're playing this, this, and this. How do we actually want to show our hand? What do we want to be getting ready for as to the beginning of the tournament where really anything can happen? I mean, Change My Mind has already proved that. They really did throw the wrench into the works, but there aren't much works left to throw wrenches at. Now, when we do get down to Hook Point, we're going to have to see how this composition is going to fare. Will Method Black be able to tie up this series, or is Cloud9 going to go on a rampage?
I'm not entirely sold. When I spoke to Raikou, they had been wargaming with Cloud9, and Raikou felt like the Demon Hunter Death Knight actually overcomes the Mage Warlock, even though Cloud9 has been just destroying every North American Demon Hunter Death Knight that is thrown at them. So this is going to be awesome to see the best European Demon Hunter Death Knight go up against the best Warlock Mage to find out, is it the counter or isn't it? Here's the gates have opened in game number 2. Cloud9 lead North America's last hope.
You know, I bet if Method Black play 3 different comps here and end up going 0-3, they might lead the grand final should they get there with a Mage Lock mirror. So we'll have to see how this matchup plays out. Of course, the big thing that's going to be different about Cloud9 compared to any of the European Mage Locks is that Cloud9 are just so good seemingly at using their crowd control diminishing returns to shut down anything as well as dealing their damage and pressure. So it's going to be a big question of how well can Raikou land those mana rifts and Cubsy, because so far he's been struggling.
Wealthy Man pressured early on, but Cubsy shakes it off with an Iron Bark, starting to stabilize here. Curious to see if Cloud9 focus on this strategy in particular, where they crowd control Raikou, the Demon Hunter. So Raikou is currently sitting through a Fear and earlier a Polymorph, and that is to stall his mana rifts so he cannot get as many as possible on cooldown. This way Cubsy will retain mana later into dampening, which is of absolute necessity. So far, so good with that strategy. If they can make it to that 40% dampening mark, Swapsy then becomes a kill target. But I will say the pressure from Method Black is immense, as Wealthy Man has really been at about half health for most of the first minute of the game.
Yeah, I was just watching very carefully there to see if that mana rift would hit. Once again, Wealthy Man and Chanimals, they're both aiming as soon as Raikou connects to get the Fear or the Polymorph, and then the portal will come in. Chaz, though, taking a lot of damage. He's not triggering. He triggers way too late. And Cloud9 instantaneously are 2-0 up in the series.
Instantaneously up 2-0. I think that's actually the tagline of what just happened, Adrian. Don't disagree there, and we don't even see Cloud9 getting hyped there. They are just so calm and collected. Waz looking relatively surprised. I think we probably look relatively similar here on the desk right now. Zico, how did that unfold?
We have one North American team left in the tournament, but they are looking like they're heading straight to the grand finals. Cloud9, what a nice switch to the Resto Druid. I mean, this is similar to what we saw already when they played against AWC yesterday. They immediately go for the Resto Druids, and they have such nice lockdown. Now, Chaz was kind of relying on that cover of darkness from Raikou to help him out there. A little bit slow on his trinket, and what a great punish from Cloud9. And a little bit of luck going through that darkness, because it's about an 80% chance to deflect some of those attacks. They managed to sneak a couple through and actually take him down. We're going to see exactly how it's done. Wealthy Man, nice crowd control chain there onto Raikou. They start off the CC chain with the Mortal Call into the bash. Maledicts are connecting. Honestly, Chaz here should have just immediately trinketed that bash. He trinkets way too late. You know, one attack going through that darkness is really all you have to use. And, you know, you can see Raikou, he doesn't even believe what just happened here. And like I said already in the draft, I would have loved to see, you know, something like the Windwalker Ellie, even the Rogue Ellie looked solid against this on a small map. Now they throw that away. They have to win twice on big maps. What an uphill battle here for Method Black.
And you got to live with that for the rest of your life, too, because you know that's going to become a gif anytime. Like, that's just going to be the...
Yep. I don't even think it's disbelief. I think he's mad. I think he's genuinely really annoyed at Chaz there. I've heard that, you know, I've seen some of these guys comms sometimes when they are down, and sometimes they can get pretty hostile towards Chaz. It's like easy to blame your healer there. It's like sometimes you do get that situation where you're trying to sit through, and I think it's a miscommunication, if anything, because Chaz can trinket, yes. Raikou can darkness. Probably they're both cooling for the other to do it, or there's some like miscommunication there. The darkness comes in too late, and so does the trinket.
Was Raikou playing reverse magic?
I'm not actually 100% sure. I didn't check the
If he had it, he could have just reversed the Nova as well and given him the darkness. So.
It's just like one of those situations where it's like so difficult. Like you can't really blame it. But I mean, Raikou there, like Chaz is sitting to his left. When he does that turn, it looks like he is fuming at Chaz.
Either way, we're going to give Method Black a few seconds here to cool down, to recollect. When we return, are we going to see them sent home? When we first got to the LAN, everybody tries to decide who's the best team in North America, who's the best team in EU, but looking at Cloud9 right now, they seem to be a tier above every single team, not even getting tested, able to rely on just one composition for now, and now they're making Method Black look like combatants. We're gonna have to see if they can strike back here. The last game, just so fantastically well done by Cloud9, and may have just sent them off tilt onto a whole nother planet of existence that might be a 3-0.
Yeah, Hook Point was Method Black's best map, and they just threw it away. without their best map and now having to battle on Cloud9's both of their best maps, even if they manage to pull this off, this is going to be so difficult for Method Black. You are all smiles if you're Cloud9, but they've also been playing out of their minds. We do see Method Black mixing up, going after Cubsy early on, potentially trying to find an opening there and catch him off guard. Barkskin exchanged evenly for the Stormkeeper, but Vendetta still available, and Method Black, what are they going to do? Are they going to keep staying on Cubsy? Lightning Lasso mistimed on diminishing returns. Did Swapsy turn on his add-ons?
I mean, using the Lightning Lasso on DR is actually a pretty normal trick.
Is it?
When the lasso expires, unless the person is an Orc or Relentless, it will keep ticking even at 0 seconds until the end. So it's something the players will use quite consistently since there's no Relentlesses on the side of Cloud9. Reasonable play there from Swapsy, but I really like this composition. I'm happy they went back to it, because game 1, I really do feel like Method Black had a fantastic game the entire time, then they just made that one mistake of overcommitting to the kill on Chanimal, which obviously they didn't quite managed to get by a slither of margins. Now they're going for it again, and this is a very Swapsy comp. I remember back in, I believe, 2013 Cataclysm, Swapsy made it all the way to BlizzCon, playing the double Shaman Warlock, and he has these kind of winkages. It's always been his style of comp, and Method Black, if they can execute once again, I feel like they should win this game.
Going after Cubsy is risky because you leave then both Chanimal and Wealthy Man open. The defensive blind tactic from Method Black, blinding Wealthy Man the Mage during Icy Veins. This is to bait an Ice Block maybe for a kill on him later on, or if they don't get an Ice Block, then they deny Icy Veins. So Method Black is very much so focused on denying damage from Cloud9, extending the game and winning on mana, and they are committed to it when they use their blind, their most powerful crowd control, on a damage dealer member and not the healer. So let's see if Method Black can keep this war of attrition going long enough to find victory.
Yep, I mean, it's something that they're definitely going to be playing for at this stage. Chaz has got a much better mana pool than he did last time we saw in the Grand Arena as well, so they've really cleaned up the strategy. I mean, the double Shaman Rogue isn't something they thought they would have to play. In fact, Alec tweeted from ABC that the European counter to Magelock Druid was this Elemental Moonkin, and then on day 1 of the Spring Finals, they went 0-5. Multiple teams trying it, every single team failing. Cloud9 is just another beast of Magelock Druid. They're absolutely impeccable at this composition. So Method Black, they've had to go back to the drawing board, and I think this is a good answer. We see the stun coming over onto Cubsy right now. Hex is coming out from both Shamans. Kidney shot onto Wealthy Man. They're actually changing up their kill target a little bit here, Sid.
Would like to see better elemental usage from both Chaz and Swapsy. Those Earth Elementals can be used as a drink denier on Cubsy, so I do really want to see the Shamans on Method Black use those so that they don't have to overextend themselves and be vulnerable to damage. That's the main advantage that they can bring in this specific matchup. Was using evasion there. I'm not entirely sure what he was trying to deny. I would imagine that he wants to stop a bash, but Cubsy was nowhere nearby, so evasion not really getting any value in that specific situation. Chaz is already establishing a mana lead, and they are doing a good job hunting down Cubsy and preventing him from drinking, but moving forward, Wealthy Man and Chanimal have been left open for some time, and I'm curious to see how much momentum they can develop while Method Black continue focusing on drink denial.
Yep, and this is the perfect map for that drink denial, of course. Dalaran Sur is one of the small maps in the pool. I'd be curious to see how this matchup would play out on, let's say, Tolvuron Arena, which Cloud9 would be able to pick should they lose this one. Chanimal in the kidney shot right now. Again, not too much doing, just shutting down damage on the side of Method Black, forcing Cubsy, to keep the hots up. Lightning Lasso actually to deny the Innovate. This is such a dampening Swapsy play here. Shutting down the Druid for just a few seconds so he can purge off that Innovate. Nice plays coming in from Method Black, really understanding how they want to play this game. They come together as a team always in these situations, but Infernals from Chanimal, you don't need a team when he's around.
Yeah, you do not need a team when Chanimal is in town, and I am so happy and ecstatic to see a team finally able to utilize him. He has had a hard time finding a roster where he can be the all-star that he is, and I'm almost wondering if we should commend him as the best player in the tournament, and he's only playing one class in an expansion where you expect that diversity is the best thing to have on your team, but Chanimal
is the best thing to have on your team.
He's the best thing to have on your team with this Destruction Warlock here. It's match point in the upper bracket. Cloud9, they're the last North American team. They're about to 3-0 the #1 seed from Europe. Maybe not. Wealthy Man being blasted. Method Black take game 3. But they got to take 2 more on Cloud9's map pick.
It's definitely going to be a long and difficult road back, but this hopefully will breathe some life back into the squad. You can see still not all smiles, but a little bit better. Finally, they're going to have that win under their belt. What allowed for that crazy kill to happen?
Well, we've seen it time and time again during the Cups, Rich. You know, it's what Swapty does. He builds up his damage, and then he unloads a big Earth Shock. He's playing those traits, of course, as well, that allows his Earth Shock to stack up. And then when he gets that Maelstrom charged up, he can unload it onto, you know, a low HP mage. And you can't really fault Wealthy Man too much for not ice blocking here. It's a really tough thing to just block, because you're not really under that much pressure. Your healer isn't really in that much crowd control. You know, he's still fairly healthy when that Earth Shock comes in, and then all of a sudden he just gets globalled, and we're gonna see Kidney Shot right there. Maledict connects with the Earth Shock, and Wealthy Man, he thinks he's gonna be fine there. Cubsy gives him a big heal, not gonna be enough.
So I got confirmation there. That Earth Shock hit for 76k.
Yep, that's
a beefy boy. So I think if he blocked there, it's probably a mistake. Like, he probably made the right play, ultimately. More times than not, he's going to come out of that situation looking healthy.
This is the thing, like, playing a mage into an elemental shaman is never pleasant. They'll do whatever they can to stop your damage. You know, they can move out of your slows, since Ghost Wolf immunes you below 100% movement speed, and then they also have the opportunity, you know, to wind share you at 40% and just one-shot you. It wasn't obviously a wind share on this occasion, but that's the second time in this tournament that Wealthy Man has been caught out like that. Happened once against Wildcard Gaming and Z-Play, now here against Method Black. But the fact that that can happen almost shows even more emphatically how good Cloud9 have been doing to avoid that and win the majority of these series.
Yeah, and now it's tough to play around Swapsy. It really is going to be, but when Cloud9 is firing on all cylinders like they have been, they make it look like it's not just a composition that's strong, it's them playing it better than anyone else. Supatis, throughout the rest of this series, what do you think the preferred answer is going to be? I know earlier you were talking about how important maps were.
Yeah, I mean, well, it depends on what they blind lock. If Method Black are so terrified of this Mage Warlock that they have to blind lock the Double Shaman Rogue, look who it is. It's Snuts. He's on your camera.
Really?
They're going to bring him in. There's no way that they don't. It's just a Rogue Mage Druid. Just clean it up. I mean, that should be easy pickings composition for a Rogue Mage Druid. So Method Black have to take that into consideration during this. And I'm really curious to see what they decide to do.
I really think Method Black should just lock it in again, because what other answer do they have for this composition? I feel like Cloud9, if they play it, they're probably going to play a big map, and a lot of this uptime that they actually get on Wealthy Man is due to the small map. So I feel like if they pick a big map, they play on max range, I feel like they're going to lock in the same thing again, and if they lose then they might bring in Snuts. I think Cloud9's still looking good, though, in the series.
It's an interesting one, right? And you can tell Method Black, you know, they're running the clock down on their pick, because it's a very difficult conundrum for them as well. We're expecting the map choices, you know, Tolvaron Arena, something big and open. And Method Black, I'd love to see them lock in this Elemental Rogue again, just see how it plays out even on the bigger map. For Cloud9, I agree with Sid here a lot. I think the Rogue Mage Druid, I mean, the logic's good for locking in the MLD again as well, but the Mage... Rogue Mage Druid, I just feel like is such a counter to that comp. Like, the Rogue is an easy kill, the Elemental is an easy kill, the map favors you because you still have that Mage Druid for the crowd control. This might be Snuts' first appearance.
It might be. We're going to find out here very shortly. They got another minute to lock in what they do want to play. Will we finally see Cloud9 pushed into an area where they have to bring Snuts off the bench? Or are they finally going to be put in an area where they do want to try out some of the other compositions? Or are they just going to be going straight to the grand final in the next map? We're going to be finding out here very shortly. This series has been one where I mean, the day's been crazy.
The entire weekend.
Let's look
my voice, dude.
Yeah, I mean, let's look at what just even happened today and look at the scenarios that can happen. Imagine if Method Black gets knocked down to the lower side of the bracket and then gets sent home by Minpoike.
If Minpoike wins this tournament,
sends home Alec and then sends home
you were saying earlier, Zico, like Minpoike, they changed my mind, just doing everyone favors. It's like, what if they just win this thing? They could very well win this thing.
Whew, I like this line of play.
All right.
I think both teams did what they're supposed to do here. And the reason why is because in the previous game, when Cubsy got that big drink, Chess had like 10%, 15% mana. Cubsy got like 80% mana. But like you mentioned a lot yesterday, Adrian, in deep dampening, the Druid burns through his mana super quickly. I think Method Black could potentially play a strategy where they just kind of sit back, don't stop the drinks of Cubsy, just try to hold on to Chaz's mana bar, and then in 20 or 30% or so dampening, they can just go in onto Chanimal and just stay in and try to punish Cubsy from drinking just with raw damage onto Chanimal. It's still obviously a very tall task to do, but that is a clear win condition that they might have.
And it's a potential win condition that can bring them all the way to Game 5 and give them that shot at making it to the grand final. If not, Cloud9 goes there right now and guarantees that grand final is North America versus EU.
Cloud9, North America's last hope. They're still in match point. They take this game, they take the series, they take a spot in the grand finals, and one more victory secures them a spot at the BlizzCon World Finals later this year, and $50,000. Can Method Black overcome the map disadvantage here on Tolvaron Arena? We are about to find out. Cubsy will have a much easier time drinking on this map, and even if he doesn't, he can then expose the opposing team in midfield, overextend them, and burst them down. Wealthy Man is getting smashed by Swapsy, though, at the moment, and Swapsy, he always talks about dealing the most damage in the game, and you can really see it starting to shine here between these two teams.
Do damage, don't die. Those are the wise words that Swapsy said were essentially the motto he lives by when he plays World of Warcraft Arena these days. And doing damage he's fantastic at, not dying they're also pretty fantastic at. Cloud9 have an uphill battle even if they are to take this next game. It's 2 games is one thing, getting that third game, it's where Method Black do not back down. They make it so difficult for them. But let's take a second here. Waz, with the swap over onto Cubsy, they're just trying to kind of like play around, I think, like experimenting a bit prior to dampening. I think when dampening comes in, and like Zika said in the pregame, they're playing the way that we would like to see them play, you know, a bit more conservatively on the bigger map. Maybe they recognize this game is going to be dragged out longer. Chaz's mana resource is the most valuable thing for them here.
A bit more conservative. They just tried to attack Cubsy. I don't know if that's necessarily the most
they're both sitting on pillars, you know.
Conservative play there. Lightning Lasso on Cubsy by Swapsy. Waz is trying to connect, but he is stuck in midfield. Wealthy Man and Chanimal are having their way with Waz right here, and you can see the map advantage because Waz is just stuck. Finally shadow stepping to a target, but only has one of those. If Chanimal can get to the Demonic Gateway and escape to safety, Waz will not reconnect. Oh, he's running the Demonic Circle on this map. Chanimal is focused on just pure avoidance, and now though, Waz switches targets. Swapsy bursts Wealthy Man, and I don't know, Dalaran Sewers. Every time I see him below 50% health, I almost see the dead letters starting to spell on his frame. So at this point, you got to be careful. Otherwise, Method Black might just bring this to Game 5 and have an opportunity to advance themselves. Stuns onto 2 members of Cloud9, but Waz is still taking a ton of heat. Chaz has that Earthen Wall Totem down, reducing damage on Waz and stabilizing him. Cubsy's trying to drink, but there's an Elemental chasing him around the pillar. Cubsy is trying to kite it. They frost over the Elemental to try and get Cubsy time to get into stealth, and although this doesn't seem that necessarily that interesting because it doesn't have anything to do with damage, Cubsy sneaking away and drinking as he is right now, rotating to the opposite side of the map, is actually the most important thing in this specific matchup. If Cubsy cannot have full mana moving into dampening, then I will certainly think that their team will not find victory. He found a bit of mana, but honestly not as much as he needs.
Yeah, honestly, this game, I would say, is the best out of the 4 that we've seen for Method Black. They've had a really good one in terms of, you know, they've spread Cloud9 a little bit thin. They're all over the map. They're struggling to get pressure on Waz or Swapsy at this moment in time, and they're also actually up on mana, which we said that the Cloud9, the reason they chose this map, and I mean, it's true, they chose it so that Cubsy could kite away constantly, but now that Method Black are putting more damage onto Wealthy Man rather than Chanimals, Wealthy Man can't really heal through the damage as easily as the Warlock can, meaning that Cubsy's having to commit a little bit more to the actual healing side of playing Restoration Druid and less to the drinking, and that's just playing into Method Black's hand. Honestly, Wealthy Man, I tip my hat to this guy. Like, he is so brave. I would have blocked twice already in this game. Every time Swapsy gets you low, it's absolutely terrifying. We see another swap here over onto Cubsy. not really too confident in these. I mean, I guess it makes sense because Waz is chasing them anyways. They're actually hitting Maledicts, forcing the safeguard. Double skin coming out, but this is the Infernals. They need to respect that.
All right, Infernals are down. Cubsy is in midfield, and that is not where you want to be if you are Method Black during these cooldowns, as they are so powerful. One Chaos Bolt flies in, that hits Swapsy, but he is dealing with it just fine. Cubsy's drinking during the Infernals. Swapsy knows that. He pushes forward, stops any significant amount of regeneration. It's still match point. You can't afford a mistake, and Waz is very low on health. How are they going to respond? Chaz is interrupted. He can't heal. Swapsy is polymorphed. He can't support. Waz is boldly holding on to Cloak of Shadows. Feint reduces the damage. He's trying to chase down the target. Stuns up Chanimal, but that Demonic Circle at the pillar is going to allow Chanimal to easily escape if he needs to. Demonic Circle back to the pillar. Waz tries to connect, but no, actually switching to Weltyman. Weltyman is now low, and every time he's below 50%, it seems like even one Earth Shock could kill him, but manages to hold on to the blocks. Cubsy regenerates back to full mana just as we get closer to dampening. This is looking good for Cloud9.
Yeah, that was a good drink from Cubsy there at the cost of a little bit of fear on the side of Wealthy Man. One of the good things is against this Earth Shock trade from Swapsy, Wealthy Man can actually see a buff on him, which is stacking for that increased Earth Shock. So you can actually really track that. I'm sure the team's calling it out and trying to, you know, say, hey, this is a 30% health where you might die, and hey, this is a 30% health where you're fine. So they just need to do a good job with that, make sure that nothing bad happens. Dampening, as you can see in the top middle of your screen, is starting to stack minus 3% healing reduction for all of the players on the map right now, Tolvaron Arena. Chaz has done a fantastic job with his mana this game. Nagrand, when they entered dampening, he was about 30%. Now he's at 60, so definitely things still looking pretty good for Method Black here.
Demonic Circle, Chanimal escapes. Back around the corner. Can he stay alive? Chaos Bolt's flying in onto Waz, pinned in center field by the Ursul's Vortex, and Waz tries to set up a swap, but is Cheap Shot long enough? Nope, not going to be. Cubsy escapes. Waz is now stuck again in midfield, trying to make it to a target. Gladiator's Maledict's attempt here by Cloud9 to pressure Waz, but it's totally shut down. All three Gladiator's Maledicts, not even a Cloak of Shadows or Earthen Wall Totem. Maybe not just yet, at least. He is now very low on health. Chanimal stunned. Wealthy Man's Wind Shear. Do they have enough damage to force anything? Doesn't look like it. Chaz gets bashed. Wealthy Man blinks in, tries to polymorph, gets grounding totemed by Swapsy and denied. Wealthy Man that uses the gateway to try and escape, but he's getting blasted, and you once again do not want to go down without using that ice block here. Cloud9 would like to just clean this up and advance to the grand finals and let the lower bracket do their bidding to potentially eliminate Method Black moving forward.
Let's just take a second to think about why this double Shaman is so good here. Like, you've got double Tremor for the Warlock, obviously double Wind Shear, but the double grounding is actually the perfect counter to these Maledicts. You can ground every single one of those Maledicts if you just save the groundings, in addition to, you know, the Cloak of Shadows, all the other immunities that Method Black have on their team. This is a very smartly drafted composition here from Chaz, Swapsy, and Waz. They know what they're doing. We see a full sheep snuck over onto Chaz. Good play from Wealthy Man. Orb comes out. Big damage over onto Waz. Does have that Cloak of Shadows. He's trying to exchange here. The Vendetta committed. But Cubsy not really having to do too much healing. We see Chanimal just kind of tanking. It's not high enough dampening for him to kill him. And that Dark Circle, the Demonic Circle rather, from Chanimal's the portal, enabling him to kite on these goes. I really like it when they put more of their damage onto Wealthy Man early. And then as dampening starts to stack, I think more and more of it needs to go onto Chan.
Yeah, I definitely think that is going to be the case here. Cubsy still maintains his mana. Method Black continue mixing it up, trying to switch, but Cubsy actually saw it coming. He was in bear form, and that's going to allow him to easily survive the stuns. I say easily, but Swapsy is chasing him at the moment, and after that 76k, I'm not sure if you can ever say that someone is safe if they're below 50% health. Waz the target here, double Shadow Fury, beautifully timed with the Infernals of Chanimal. Let's see how many Chaos Bolts he can get. Waz is looking to stop them. He's stalled them now with a silence and a stun. How many more interrupts do they have? Maybe we see an aggressive unending resolve. Swapsy doesn't have much defense. Chanimal has that opening, but Swapsy's at the pillar line of sighting, so unlikely to see that. Chanimal instead deciding to kite and allow Cubsy to drink and regenerate mana. Cloud9 feel confident if they're able to regenerate mana deeper into dampening, but at deep dampening land, it's anyone's game. It's quite chaotic.
Yeah, and I mean, Chaz doesn't have a bad mana pool himself, so these drinks from Cloud9, yes, they're good, but no, they're not game-winning necessarily. It's going to take more than that to take down Method Black in this one. Still, any team's game at this point, it's going to start getting harder and harder. We see the Smoke Bomb committed by Waz here, trying to get damage onto Chanimal's. Huge hit once again coming in from Swapsy with that Earth Shock, but it's down now. The stacks will have expired. We see all the Maledicts committed here as well to Chanimal's. Honestly, not too much doing. Again, Method Black's offense is thwarted by the defense of the North American #1 squad. Ascendance from Chaz, big cooldowns being traded traded out here by Method Black for that as well, but they're trying to burn down the mana bar. Like Zico said in the pregame, it's all about the dampening. Once dampening's at 24%, the Druid does struggle to just heal with efficient heals. He has to start spamming Nourish, Regrowth, and burning through that mana pool very quickly.
Yeah, he will. Cubsy's trying to drink. He's very far away, and Chanimal is low on health, but he got full mana. If Chanimal doesn't die, that's a good trade for Cloud9. They're still on match point. The last North American team in the tournament. If they can manage to pull this off, they go to the grand finals, and they're looking good to take the entire thing. They haven't even had to use Snuts. Snuts is on their team. They haven't even had to use him, so moving forward, they're looking solid. Although, right now, Method Black are developing momentum. Chanimal at half, dampening at 28%, so this is going to become difficult to heal through. Cubsy still managing to pull through, stabilizing Chanimal. Waz is now low, and Cloud9 begin an assault. What's Waz going to do? Is he going to run away? Is he going to stay on target? Swapsy boldly in center field. That is a brave place to be, but I guess he needs to be to stop drinks, but exposed to a stun. Chanimal now stunned up as well. Windshear on Cubsy. Chanimal low on health. Frost Nova holding Waz in place. Demonic Circle, but Cubsy's across the map. Can Cubsy get back over to Chanimal's side in time? Now blinded. Trinkets. No punish. Chanimal still at half. Dampening once again. It's chaotic. It could go either way.
This was actually a really big play from Method Black. They got the Trinket from Chanimal before the Infernals, meaning they'll be able to safely shut him down on that cooldown, which you can see is coming up in about 10 seconds. See big damage on both sides now, 32% dampening. Both these teams starting to feel the heat as we do get further and further into this one. Swapsy low, Chanimal's his health going up and down like a yo-yo, honestly, but Swapsy's definitely taking the worst end of this exchange. Spirit Link actually forced out here by Wealthy Man, almost solo as Chanimal was out of line of sight. Good job by him. Wealthy Man has been kind of the unsung hero so far in the series for Cloud9.
There's the Earth Elemental tossed at Cubsy, but it's not. Why is it changing targets? You don't want the Earth Elemental hit Chanimal. Cubsy now could sneak away and drink if he needs to. Although Chanimal has taken some heat, he's going to use the Demonic Gateway. Shadow Step, where's the circle? I think it's on the other pillar. Chanimal is too far away from his Demonic Circle. Does he relay it and try and kite using this pillar? Or does he start walking back towards it? Looks like he's rather choosing to walk back towards his original positioning. Shadow Fury interrupted. Windshear out of the way. Potential Chaos Bolts. Chanimal is still out of range of the Demonic Circle. This could be an error that costs them game number 4 here against Method Black. Chanimal gets thunderstormed even further away from his Demonic Circle, looking for a triple Shadow Fury, gets interrupted. Now, having soaked all those interrupts, could be an opening for a Chaos Bolt. Wealthy Man still teeing off with Frost Bolts. Would like to see Chanimal reposition back towards his Demonic Circle. He's making his way downtown. 40% dampening. Cubsy's trying to drink. If he can regenerate full mana, I'm thinking Cloud9 take it.
Yeah, this is the important moment in the game here, folks. If Cubsy can get the drink, it could well be detrimental to Method Black. He gets a tick. He's about to 30% mana right now. That was where in the previous game he got to 100%, 40% dampening for both of these teams. Swapsy taking a fair bit of damage. This is what Cloud9 want to do. They want to constantly force Method Black to cross the map, chase Cubsy around, and then Wealthy Man can tee off. He can slow Swapsy. He can get those Frost Bolts, do damage as much as he can. And we see the Polymorphs coming out now. The Frozen Orb, big damage onto all 3 members of Method Black. Cubsy once again positioning 100 yards away, doing as much as he can from as far away as he can. Chaz down to about 10% mana. The win conditions for both these teams are looming. This game could go either way still, but it's going to end soon.
It is most certainly going to end soon. You don't want to go anywhere. Cloud9 are the last North American team in the tournament. They're bursting down Waz. He's in center field. Where can he go? Well, there's a Chaos Bolt. He's going nowhere but the lower bracket.
Cloud9, just like that, going to represent the entire region of North America, the first team in the grand final, and they look unbeatable in so many ways. Let's talk about how this game ended up shaping up.
I really like the Demonic Circle pick here from Chanimal. I think that was the big one. In game number 1, he wasn't playing it. In this game, though, it ended up being so crucial. Porting away, clearing all his slows, of course, and then you have that Frost Mage who's slowing everybody else. You can get that distance, allows you to get those Chaos Bolts out, and you know, when one of them connects that deep into dampening, you can be sure that Waz is going to go down.
Looking now over on the side of Method Black, before we do get a moment to actually talk to Cloud9, we'll be seeing them in a little while. What does the rest of their road actually look like? How likely is it that we do get to a rematch in your mind, Adrian?
I think it's very likely. I would say like 60, 70, 80%. You know, very, very high chance that Method Black will beat whoever comes down from the lower. Not guaranteed, but you got to put your bets on them, I think. And they'll come away from this series, you know, with a little bit of hope, because they did prove that C9 is mortal. They were able to take that one game on the slightly smaller map against the with the Elemental Restoration, Shaman, and the Rogue, and I really do think that if they can do that, they just need to find something for the bigger maps, and they'll give Cloud9 a good series in the Grand.
Yeah, Zico, as we watch this, I think it's really important to try to say, if Method Black gets a rematch, what do we want to see them do if they are going to find victory?
Well, they're going to have to pick better. Don't pick DK Edge, Resto Druid. It didn't look too great for them. And then here, of course, is the moment we're talking about. You can see everybody on Method stacked up behind the pillar, Chanimal, Porch to the other side, then Gates even further away, and that's going to put him out of range from all of those wind shears. Of course, Swapsy might have been able to ground that Chaos Bolt there at the end, I'm not sure, but still, even at that point, it wasn't looking too great for them. Chanimal, of course, still had a lot of cooldowns to work with, and, you know, Method Black, they have an answer. I was a little bit disappointed that we didn't see the Windwalker rally at all from them, because it was something that was getting Wildcard Gaming wins. But I feel like they think that the Rogue version is better, so they're going to stick with that. I want to see them keep playing that. But now Cloud9 also know that if they go Demonic Circle on larger maps, it's going to be very, very good for them. So both teams kind of leave this series with good knowledge.
With more information, that is definite. But if I'm Cloud9 right now, I imagine they're not really scared of anything in this tournament. We're going to have to find out. We got Chanimal waiting on the floor.
Hey guys, I'm here with Chanimal of Cloud9. Congratulations on that win. So what changes did you guys make going into Game 4 after that Game 3 loss?
Well, to be honest, we lost that game like super fluky, and we knew just like we had to live. Once we got to the point we got to in Game 3, we'd start winning. But yeah, we just got unlucky and he died through tank trinket to a crit, so.
Now, in the past, you guys have been known to play pretty unique comps, including that Mage Lock Druid. What sort of unique edge does that give you over the competition?
It's not that unique. I just don't think there's any other team in NA or Europe that really has triple main Mage Lock Druid on their team. And I think it shows when we play it that we perform really well.
Now, there's only one spot to go to BlizzCon based on points for NA, and you guys are the last North American team standing today. What does it mean to you to win this competition today?
Honestly, it would be such a stress reliever knowing that we don't have to do particularly well in Season 2 or Summer. We'll still play, of course, but getting that security nice and early in the year will be really good.
All right, well, thank you for chatting with me. Back to you guys at the desk.
I imagine it's a pretty big stress reliever for just about every team in North America.
Not for the EU team.
yeah, right? I think that is the thing. Seeing who takes it first, that puts extra pressure on a region for sure, because you already know one of those spots now. You basically are fighting for spots as regions now. It is very important to look at it that way. But I want to go back to the interview that we had with them off broadcast, of course, when we got here on the first day of the LAN, and we were talking to Snuts, and we were like, what is the strength of the team? Because we just did hear it mirrored in what Chan said. And it's that idea that it's not necessarily the comps that they're bringing. The reason that they are such a good team is because individual skill-wise, they're incredible, and they're playing triple main.
Yeah, and that's really what we saw even before we got to NA Cup 1. I think all of us as analysts, or like myself sitting at home, we were like, wow, this Cloud9 roster or this Super Frogs roster at the time is one to watch. These guys, like, this is like the perfect roster, you know, like Chanimals and Snuts have been wanting to play together since forever. Now Snuts is that awesome multi-class. I would say potentially the Snuts is, in terms of multi-classing, the best player in North America, like player flat out. Chanimals individually on the Warlock, Wealthy Man individually on the Mage, they are the best of their classes. This roster just makes so much sense. In the past, you know, we've had Wealthy Man playing Rogue, doesn't really seem that great. 2 mages on the roster, you know, like it didn't really quite make sense, but now it's just perfect.